Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson.
20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis.
Oh, my God.
Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Welcome back to another video here, another show, Ian Fritz Show. I'm Ian Fritz, per usual. Big show, week nine recap. A lot happened. Well, some big things happened, and then not so much happened in some big games. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. And you may notice this little scratch up here on my face. Was walking outside. Boom, cat. Cat got me. This rabid cat just got me. So be watching out for cats when you're out and about. There's some crazy animals, so you better prepare yourself for those guys out there. Just a fair warning for you guys. I wasn't prepared. Boom, got me. Wasn't prepared. Got me out of nowhere. So that's my warning to you guys. Watch out for cats. Okay, enough about cats. Let's get into the week 9 recap. Now, if you remember, does anybody remember what I said last week? I'll give you a chance to answer. Boop, boop, boop. Yes, you are correct, sir. I said chaos was coming, and I said it was coming fast. And boom, fast forward a week later from last week. We're here today. Yesterday was chaos. What happened in the chaos? Well, I said that we were going to get some big-time upsets, and they're coming. They're coming for us, and we got it. We got one. We got one yesterday. The Kansas Jayhawks upset number 6 Oklahoma Sooners, and if you know anything about me, it hurts a little bit. Hurts a little bit on the inside. However, nothing I can do about it. I'm here to bring you the points, bring you the stuff. I said an upset was going to happen, and it happened to the team that I didn't want it to happen to. So that's really sad for me. Happy for pretty much the entire world because nobody ever wants to cheer for OU. So we had an upset, said it was happening. Now, you could say, Ian, didn't North Carolina lose to Virginia last weekend? Well, yes, but North Carolina, absolute hot garbage. They lost to Georgia Tech last night. So get them out of anything that was supposed to be a big-time upset because they don't deserve anywhere near the top 24. We'll get into the what-if poll later. OU fell on the road yesterday. It was ugly weather, sleeting. They had an hour delay for a rain delay, lightning. It was not pretty from either team. I'm not sure if either team wanted to win that football game. But the Jayhawks, Lance Leipold, he got it done for old Kansas Jayhawks up there. That was really the only game that delivered yesterday. I told you we had some games that delivered with that chaos, and then we had some games that were some big-time games going into the weekend that were kind of duds. A little bit of a dud muffin, if you will. And then OU Kansas was really the most exciting game yesterday. You could argue maybe USC Cal, but really nobody cares about USC anymore, me included. They're hot garbage on defense, okay? Then you could say Washington Stanford. Well, yeah. Washington's kind of been on the struggle bus, kind of like OU, but they're sneaking away. Stanford should have won that game if they knew how to catch the ball on a 4th and 2. So, Washington, they're going to fall soon. By the end of the season, write it down in your little book, in your little prediction book. Washington's going to fall to a lesser opponent by the end of the season, guys, and it's going to be because they're skating on thin ice. That's what they're doing right now. They're just skating around thin ice. Very thick. It's probably about this thick. Probably about that thick of ice for Washington right now. All the biggest games yesterday. You got Georgia, Florida. You had Oregon, Utah. You had Duke, Louisville. All duds of a football game. And I'm supposed to talk about them. You guys probably turned them off because they were so bad. You probably turned on a better game. There weren't really many great games yesterday. But I asked for it last week. I said we'd have a lot of questions. Last week. Last week gave us a lot of questions, no answers. Yesterday gave us some answers. And I'm going to jump into one of those teams that gave us an answer. Unfortunately, the answers came in the form of blowouts. However, we got answers. That's what we were asking for. That's what I was asking for. And some teams gave them to us. OU in a little, maybe a little bit of a fraud. I don't know. I'm not ready to call them fraudulent yet because they did have that win over Texas. But let's get into the Oregon, Utah, because we had a question, a big-time question answered by the Oregon Ducks yesterday. Now, in the preview show, I thought Utah was going to cover. I thought they'd be rolling after some big-time momentum that they had last weekend, beating USC. They're at home, won 18 straight at home, and I was completely wrong. Dan Lanning proved me wrong. The game was 35-6. That was the final score, and if you know anything about the spread was 6.5 by the time the game kicked off. So do the math there. That's a 29-point win, and that does not cover the spread if you're Utah. So hurts me on the inside because I had Utah covering. Bad pick. The Oregon Ducks. Legit football team, guys. They are a legit football team. Some of you were asking me, I hope you talk about the Oregon-Utah game because I didn't watch it. Didn't get a chance to watch that game. And let me just say, good for you. Wasn't much of a football game after the first drive. This game was over after the first drive. I saw this first drive happen and I said, wow, okay, Oregon Ducks are humming. They are firing on all cylinders, all 8 of them. They're an 8-cylinder machine over there, the Oregon Ducks. And they're firing on all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Boom, all firing. The first drive, it was over after the first drive for Oregon. It was clinical, 6 plays. Bo Nix went 4 for 4, 60 yards, and then he had a 1-yard rush touchdown. You can't get much better than that if you're Oregon, okay? You cannot get much better than that. Starting the game off like that in a hostile environment up there in the mountains of Utah, 18-game home win. You silence the crowd right away. And if you know anything about Utah, you can't be playing from behind. Utah had to get off the field on that first drive, and it just forced Oregon into a 3-and-out punt situation, and they didn't. They just folded over. They let Oregon run right by them, and they let Oregon do whatever they wanted. It was really sad for Oregon pickers like myself, or Utah pickers like myself. Oregon dominated this game. All facets of the game. It was not close from the beginning. Oregon dominated every single part of this game. They were the more physical team. They were better throwing the football. They were better running the football. They were better defensively. They were better composurely. I don't even know if that's a word, composurely, but it is now. I mean, Oregon absolutely annihilated Utah yesterday. Just dissected them. Just picked them apart. Did whatever they wanted to do. It was disgusting if you're a Utah fan. Absolutely disgusting. I thought Kyle Whittingham would have that team coming out. Big time game, Oregon Ducks. Let's go, baby. Big time game. Can we win this football? No. Better team won that football game. Now, we knew Utah's offense was going bad into this game. But Oregon's defense, they've looked good all year. But their rush defense specifically, top 10. Utah, coming into this game, one of the better rush offenses in the entire country. Oregon shut them down. Does not matter how good Utah's rush offense was coming in. Their pass offense was still abysmal, and it was abysmal again yesterday. And that hurt them. They had to play from behind a little bit, so they had to throw the ball. They couldn't do what they wanted to. But Oregon kind of shut Utah's rush defense down. They only ran for 99 yards, not even getting to triple digits. It's not if you're a Utah fan and you're playing from behind, you have lost the football game. You can't play from behind if you're a Utah fan. And that's what Oregon did. They jumped out to an early lead, and they just kind of sat there. They're, this is what we do. If we're up on Utah, make them throw. That's what they can't do. Oregon's defense was flying around because Oregon's offense put them into a position to where they could just play aggressive, which is what they want to do. 6 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions. I mean, Oregon would not let Utah do anything. They wouldn't let Utah do anything. And if it wasn't for a fumble by Bucky Irving, Utah probably only has 3 points in this game. They probably only have 3 points in this game. Oregon's deep. I mean, they shut them down. I don't know how many different ways I can say that Oregon dominated this game other than they just flat out dominated on every single level. Anything you say, Oregon annihilated them. They did it in all parts of the game. That's what it was. Oregon did it in every part of the game. Utah defense couldn't stop them. They just let everything happen. Bo Nix was picking them apart. That first drive, clinical. The rest of the game, clinical. Let me tell you guys. This game, you're probably like, well, Ian, it was 35-6 over a whole 60-minute game. It's not that bad. I mean, you're probably not saying it's not that bad because it was bad. It was 35-6 with 7 minutes left in the third quarter. I was pausing for effect there because I was assuming you guys are at home thinking to yourselves, whoa, yeah, That's what you should be thinking because 35-6. This game could have been 55-6. It could have been. Oregon just decided to take a break here. We're like, hey, we won 35-6. Let's get our guys out of there. Let's keep them healthy for the rest of the year. Keep them healthy. That's what we need. And I just want to say, Dan Lanning, I'm sorry, my man. I was a doubter, and you had that football team humming. I mean, absolutely humming like a well-oiled machine. That's what the Oregon Ducks are right now. Now, what question did this answer for us? Well, last week, I was begging for teams to say, hey, we're a top 4 team in the country. Say it. We're a top 4 team in the country. That's who we are. We're top 5 team in the country. Oregon. You delivered yesterday. I have absolutely no doubts about it. You just did that. You just answered that question. You said, hey, Ian Fritz Show, we're a team. We're a team that you've been wanting to answer that question. We did it. Absolute dissection of a top 15 team. Annihilation, just a complete disaster if you're a Utah fan. Picked them apart, did whatever they wanted to. They're leaving this game, no doubt about it. They're the best team in the Pac-12. I know they lost to Washington on the road. Couple bad decisions. Shanked field goal. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind Oregon is by far the best team in the Pac-12. And that has something to do with a little bit of what Washington's doing recently. But also, Oregon is rolling. I wouldn't want to play the Ducks right now. I'm getting out of the Ducks' way if I'm playing the Ducks. I'm like, hey, get a win. I don't want to play you guys. That's what I'm doing. The Oregon Ducks are firing. Now, this may be a bold statement. I think we can pencil in the Oregon Ducks as a college football playoff lock. Lock it in. The Oregon Ducks are going to be in the college football playoff. No doubt about it. That team is awesome. Both sides of the football. Both lines of scrimmage. They got a quarterback that can get it done. They have a running back that can get it done. They have receivers on the edge that can get it done. Elite corners, elite defensive backs, elite line. I mean, they're a elite team. The Oregon Ducks, pencil it in. They're going to be in the college football playoff. No doubt about it. Now, let's get into another team that is absolutely humming right now. And you already know it because the preview part's up there. The show is up there. We got the Georgia Bulldogs. Got to take a sip here. I have a big old jar today. I already have this one out, so I couldn't get my regular cup. The score looked a little closer than what it actually was. I believe the score was 43-20. And it shouldn't have been. It was 43-13 with a minute left, and then Florida got a garbage time touchdown. So, for all intents and purposes, just a complete annihilation of the Florida Gators. Just a blowout of the Florida Gators. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, man, I was watching that game. It was 7-0 Florida. How'd that happen? Well, we know Georgia they always start out a little slow. They always take a little with, hey, got to get back into the flow of things. Got to get back. Hey, we're playing a football game. That's what Georgia's got. Hey, it's not practice anymore. We can't be lollygagging around. We got to get into a flow. They got to get into a rhythm. That's what the Georgia Bulldogs have to do. And once they did that, it was over. Once they decided, hey, you know what? Let's stop messing around with the Florida Gators right here, and let's start playing football. Let's start doing what we do. Coming off the bye week, let's start doing what we do. What we've done for the past 2 years, let's do it today. And let's silence all of our haters. They're like, hey, Brock Bowers, that's our man. We can't do anything with the old Brock Bowers. Well, let me tell you something right now. It does not matter if Georgia has Brock Bowers. And to all the haters out there, Brock Bowers is not the offense for the Georgia Bulldogs. It runs through a man named Carson Beck. And it's a little bit silly for everybody saying that Georgia wasn't going to be able to get things done offensively. A little bit silly, and it's silly because it's not like Georgia hasn't been recruiting well on both sides of the football. They've been recruiting better than any team in the entire country the last 4 years. So, of course, they're going to be fine without Brock Bowers. They have dudes all over the place. Guys. Whoever said Brock Bowers was the entire offense, dumb. Wasn't me. Couldn't have been me. They looked great without Brock Bowers. And it's almost like the team that recruits well for 4 years in a row and goes back-to-back national championships, still hasn't lost a game in 3 years. It's almost like they're going to be fine if they lose a player. Now, Brock Bowers, he's a legit football player, top 10 football player in the country. But Georgia, they don't need a top 10 player in the country because they have top 10 dudes all over the field. At every position, they have a top 10 player. You can't argue with that, guys. You can't argue with that. They do. That's where we're at. Georgia is continuing to be a powerhouse. They continue to do everything they want to do. Now, as I said in the preview show, this could be a game where Georgia gets the rushing attack going. They've struggled all year, but Florida struggled stopping the run. That's who they've struggled against. And they finally got it going. 171 yards rushing. One of the better performances from that Georgia offense on the ground this year. They found it. They found it on the ground. However, you're coming away from this game if you watched it, and I know a lot of you didn't because it was abysmal to watch, just letting you know. You're coming away from this football game thinking, Carson Beck is that guy has all the talent in the world, arm talent. He can put it on the boom. He puts it. There was a throw, kind of a cover 2 look from Florida in the red zone, man to man on the outside, and Carson Beck drops it in the spot in the end zone, in between the corner and the safety, right in the bucket for the receiver. It was a nice throw. Carson Beck can get it done. Over 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no turnovers. He was efficient, guys. He was efficient. And the tall man over there, I believe he's like 6'6". He tall dude. Side point. Anyways, I'd be scared if I'm any team on Georgia's schedule right now because their defense is still one of the best in the entire country. I would want to get out of Georgia's way. I wouldn't want to play them. And I think it might be too early to pencil them in as a college football playoff team because they've got their 3 toughest games coming up by far. They've got Missouri in Athens next weekend, follow it up with Ole Miss in Athens the following week, and then they go to Tennessee. Those are 3 very good football teams that they have in a row. Now, the odds of them getting through those football games through this 3-week stretch undefeated without a loss, I would put it at higher than them losing one of those games. I mean, I haven't seen super weakness from Georgia yet. I don't know what it is. Carson Beck, great quarterback. Their running game's finally getting it going. Their defense you can't do anything on their defense. I don't know. If I had to pencil in one of their games that they would lose, I think it's probably the Ole Miss game, and then the Tennessee game, and then the Missouri game. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm not ready to crown them as the top team in the country yet. The strength of schedule is still a little weak. Haven't played anybody, but they're about to play some teams. We're going to find out a lot about Georgia in the next couple weeks, but they answered a question. They're a top 5 team, no doubt about it. They answered the question, hey, Georgia, are you going to wake up? They woke up. They woke up in a big way against Florida, and they completely dominated them. Another dissection in one of the biggest games of the weekend. A little bit sad for college football fans, but Georgia's back. They never left, but they're back again. So everybody watch out. Everybody watch out for the Georgia Bulldogs. They're coming, and they're coming in quick, okay? Let me take a sip here, and then we're getting into the fan favorite segment, the What If poll. Not super movement this week. Not super movement. Okay, all right. Throw it up there, editor, which is me. We have the number 24 team in the country, the Duke Blue Devils. They've dropped 6 spots from last week. They looked horrible against the Louisville Cardinals. And I think some of that might be Louisville is just still a really good football team, and some people might have been a little early throwing them to the Wolves after that loss to Pitt. Not me, though. Louisville's a good football team. Duke, I still think, is a very good football team. Dropping them 6, they have 3 losses, so I'm dropping them. That's what you got to do it. You got to do it. Utah Utes, dropping them 11. Why am I dropping them 11? Well, their offense cannot do anything. Can't do anything. And I hate to see it. Because if they had Cam Rising, I think they're a top 10 team. I really do. But the offense without a quarterback is no good. No good to watch. The Oregon State Beavers, dropping them on 12. I had them at number 10 because they were humming. But I did pick against them last week. I said Arizona was going to win the football game outright, and they did. I saw it coming. Nobody else did. Just me. So the Oregon State Beavers, we're dropping them 12. They're just a good football team. They're a good football team. That's what they are. That's about it though about the Beavers. Tennessee, moving them up 2. You go into Kentucky, get a good win. Kentucky's still a good football team. You go in there, get a good win, moving them up. James Madison, you won against Old Dominion. Struggled a little bit. You still won, so we're moving you up 1, undefeated. Can't argue with that. I like them. Moving them up 1 to number 20. All right, moving right along. Boom, you see it right there. The Arizona Wildcats, moving them up 6. You're saying to yourselves, Ian, how can you have a 3-loss team that high? Well, I can have a 3-loss team that high when they do what they do, okay? Very good football team. They are dissecting teams. Noah Fafita, the man. He is so good, guys. I never heard of this guy until the beginning of the year. You need to watch out for that guy. He can pick you apart. Extremely efficient. Runs the ball well. He's good. He's a good football player. Arizona, very good coach football team. They're nice. Now, moving them up 6 from unranked last week. Now, you might be saying, Ian, is that Kansas State right there at number 18? Moving them up 4? Really? Didn't they play Houston? They did. They did play Houston, and they beat them 40-0. Yes, 40-0. You may be saying to yourselves, Ian, you cannot do that when they beat Houston. I can and I will. They're a very good football team, and I said it last weekend. They're going to go into Austin, Texas this weekend and beat the Texas Longhorns. That's what's going to happen, and they're going to do it, and I believe they're going to do it. So that's why we're moving them up, and we're going to move them up again when they beat Texas this weekend, guys. Louisville Cardinals, great football team, moving them up 3. They could be a little higher, but I have them at 17, so don't argue with me. UCLA Bruins, defense continues to hum. Offense is no good. The offense is no good. Dante Moore continues to make freshman mistakes. They've got to get that under control if they want to have any semblance of trying to stop Washington or Oregon, guys. Air Force. This is funny. Air Force was up there in Colorado State. They won. Continue to be undefeated. So we're moving them up. They're up there playing Colorado State, and Colorado State student section gets a penalty for throwing snowballs at Air Force. Throwing snowballs. They got a penalty. Just a little fun nugget if you didn't see that. Air Force moving them up, undefeated. Penn State Nittany Lions moving them up 1. I could drop them. I legitimately could drop them. But they got 1 loss, guys. And it was to Ohio State. So I have a hard time dropping them because they've got talent all over the field. The defense is still good. Really, the only reason it was kind of a game yesterday is Indiana just had 3 plays that went for like 90-yard touchdowns the entire game. So that doesn't happen week in and week out. Those are just 3 busts. I mean, that's what happens. And at the end of the game, Drew Allar threw an absolute dime to one of his receivers, and I think Penn State is going to try that again. Maybe that reporter, I said it last weekend, maybe you should just try what the reporter said. And when they did try it, it worked out for them. Touchdown. Who would have thought? Who would have thought throwing the ball down the field was a good idea? Not Penn State the entire year until like when they needed it. Moving up, Notre Dame Fighting Irish just obliterated the Pittsburgh Panthers, if you will. That's their name. Excuse me, I was having a little bit of a brain fart there. Kind of like one of those referees yesterday. The referee in the Kansas-Oklahoma game was trying to say a penalty. He was trying to tell the fans what the penalty was, and he couldn't say anything. He just went like this. And it was kind of funny to watch. So, but we all have those moments, so don't make fun of him for it, unless you do, because you can make fun of me for stuttering all over the place. I do it all the time. Anyways, moving up, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Good football team. Missouri Tigers. They can make a statement this weekend. If they go into Athens and beat Georgia, they can make a statement. I like them. Still a great logo. Another Tiger that's in front of them. They beat the Missouri Tigers. LSU. Up two. Like them. They got a big-time game this weekend against Bama. Ole Miss Rebels. They look good against Vanderbilt. They did what they needed to do. I like them. Top 10 team for the first time this year for Ole Miss. I like where they're at. Now, we've got some movement right here in the top 10, guys. The Oklahoma Sooners have dropped 5 spots to number 9. You may be thinking to yourself, Ian, that is not low enough. They just lost to Kansas. Well, Kansas, a little secret, Kansas is the 25th team in the what-if poll. We only do 24 teams, but Kansas would be 25th. So they're top 25 team, the Kansas Jayhawks. They have a very good offense. It was at home, homecoming. The weather was abysmal. I'm not making excuses for OU. They had a lot of injuries. They didn't look good yesterday, though. They didn't want to win that football game. They didn't look good against UCF. I don't know what happened during their bye week. I don't know if they decided, hey, Texas was the only game we wanted to win this year, and other than that, we can just take weeks off. Well, you can't. And they have a big-time game coming up this weekend against Oklahoma State. And let me just tell you something. Oklahoma State, Ollie Gordon, guess what Ollie Gordon did again last weekend? Guess what he did again yesterday? He ran for over 200 yards. He did it again. He did it again. He continues to do it. And if OU can't stop that guy, they're in for a beatdown. A absolute beatdown up there in Stillwater this weekend if they can't stop the run. So I'm dropping them 5. Lost to Kansas, you got to drop. Washington Huskies, I'm dropping them again. It's like Washington and OU. They beat their biggest team on the schedule, and they were like, hey, season's over. We did it, guys. We did it. No, you didn't do it. You didn't do it. You absolutely did nothing. You got to win. You got to win in the regular season. That's all you did, okay? You guys need to wake up. I liked it better when you guys were playing good football. Alabama Crimson Tide, big-time game against LSU this weekend. They were off, moving them up to Texas Longhorns, moving them up to. I think they're going to lose this weekend against Kansas State, but for right now, what we've seen, top 6 team, Oregon Ducks. I almost moved you into the top 4. I think you should be in the top 4, but right now, the 4 teams in front of you, I just can't put you there yet. I can't put you there yet because of that loss to Washington. So we're gonna keep you at number 5 for right now, Oregon Ducks. But by the end of the season, you're in the top 4, no doubt about it. All right, number 14. The resurgence of the Florida State Seminoles is real, guys. It is real. Not Israel. It is real. Florida State Seminoles, they are humming. And, after the first couple weeks, we were like, Florida State's the best team in the entire country. No doubt about it. Then weeks 3 and 4 happened, and we were like, whoa. Frauds. Absolute frauds. And then ever since then, they have been absolutely dominating teams. And that's what they're up to lately. So we're moving them up. Undefeated. Good win against LSU. You got to be in the top 4. Up 2. Top 3 remains unchanged from last weekend, guys. And nothing much I can say. Ohio State continues to win. I don't care what it looks like. They continue to win. Quarterback situations got me a little curious. Michigan off. Georgia, good win against Florida. So that's the top 4 for right now. It's going to change week to week, guys. It's going to change. Big time games this weekend. Thank you for watching. Excuse me. We've got our picks recap. I'm not going to go through every game. The picks this weekend, we went 9 for 9. Dead 500. I didn't go with my gut this past weekend, and I need to go back to that because that's when we were rolling. And I'm sorry if you're listening to me. It's been a bad couple weeks, bad stretch for us, but we'll get it back on track. 76 and 71.5 overall, so we're still above 500. This weekend, I feel a big week coming up for us with the picks. I feel a big time week coming up for us. And that's the show. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment. Make sure you like. Follow me over on Twitter. It's a good time over there. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you in this week's preview. Big time preview coming up. Goodbye.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson.
25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50,